What's up, meatbags? Blinded Braille here. I have taken over the show. Okay, so you see the Tony down here? He's a doppelganger. No, I kid. Tony's having some issues, so I'm semi in charge, even though he is here. So we'll start with Tony. How's your day, Tony?
How's my day? Oh, it's going utterly fantastic, Blinded. The new PC that I bought decided to crap out randomly today. The laptop that I had before, I never charged it because I got the new PC. So that's why I didn't even think I was going to be on. I have like 5% battery plugged in, and I'm hoping to make it through the whole show.
Yeah, and you actually cursed us all because we had some errors. So
We
yeah, I'm
all
gonna
had
definitely.
errors.
Yep. Yep. Even I had some
I,
errors, so
I think it's official, Tony. I think they really do. I think Intellivision really has some ninjas trying to sabotage us.
yeah.
I agree.
So how's your day, Gary?
Oh, everything's going pretty good over here. Little tired on my front. I've been busy all day, messing with the kids, cooking, and more messing with the kids. So I'm bushed, especially with the what was it, 3 hours we did last night, Tony? 3.5 hours. So
Yeah,
I'm a
that
little
was quite a
spent
long
today.
stream.
It was like 4 hours if you count both.
Yeah,
both
that and the show. So I'm spent, but I'm here, ready to go.
Nice. So what's up, chat? And if you're listening on the podcast, well, I'm glad you're listening. So we're just gonna jump into the rumor roundup, which was something that we did last week, and I thought it was a fun idea because I got some stuff to say. So the first rumor that we have on the docket is apparently, and now take this with a grain of salt, there is a Daredevil MCU project in development, and they're going to start production probably next year. So this rumor has been kind of floating around now. There was a call sheet, I think maybe like a couple months ago, and now Charles Murphy, who he's a Marvel scooper. He has his own website, Murphy's Multi Universe or whatever it may be. He is claiming that Kevin Feige is giving us a Daredevil series. So, what's your guys' thoughts on this? I'm not sure if you guys are, fans of the Daredevil TV show or if you liked his appearance in No Way Home. Spoiler alert.
Well, I love the Daredevil TV show, but I had no idea that Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, was a scooper. So it's news to me.
Well, I mean, I thought he passed away.
Did he?
Yeah,
I thought he did.
You said Charles Murphy was a scooper, right? I was confused.
Yes, Charles Murphy is a scooper, but Charles Murphy's Eddie Murphy's brother, I think he's passed away. So
yeah, Charlie Murphy. I think Blinded's right. I think Charlie Murphy did pass away a few years ago.
yes, he did have that really good Dave Chappelle sketch. So people who haven't seen that, go check that out. It's hilarious. Especially, I think it was about Rick James. I think he was in the Rick James one. Okay.
Oh, he was in a bunch of the
he was in a bunch
Dave
of it.
Chappelle.
Yeah, but I mean, like the best one he's did was like the Rick James one because he was telling that story, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, he had leukemia, which I just found out right now.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's a shame. I would disagree though. I think his best skit was the World Series of Dice. I can't remember the character he played in that one, but I loved him in that one.
Yeah. I vaguely remember that, but I love the Dave Chappelle show. I think we were talking about it one time. They should bring it back, but knowing Dave Chappelle, I don't think it will.
Yeah, so that'll never come back.
Yeah, but excited for a new Daredevil series. Hopefully, they bring back some of the, secondary characters and stuff, and don't
Yes.
completely just delete the whole timeline or universe or
Right.
whatever the hell.
So
Yeah, that is a good point.
I'm not too familiar with Daredevil, but are they supposed to be bringing back now? He was, like you said, he was in
No
No
Way
Way Home,
Home.
right? Now,
Yes,
are they
correct.
going to bring back the actor that played him, or is this going to be?
Yes, Charlie
Oh,
Cox was in No Way Home, so he is reprising his role.
okay.
Obviously, I think the issue with a lot of fans is whether or not this is going to be the exact same iteration from the Netflix series, which, by the way, I do feel like, Gary, you should watch that series. It's really good. Like, especially even if you aren't a comic book fan, I think it holds up. Like, it's a very good drama, and there's a lot of tenseful scenes, and it's really well done for a comic book TV show. But
Yeah,
But it's not on Netflix anymore. It's going to
oh, that
be.
is right. That is correct. Yes, it is on Disney Plus. It's coming to Disney Plus later, I think next week.
oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I think I
So
may have
all
seen
seasons.
an episode or so. I vaguely remember it though. So, and I was never a big Daredevil fan per se. I know a lot of people love him, but I was never big into that character.
Yeah, I personally have always loved Daredevil. He was one of my favorite characters. I have a lot of comics for him, like you know, omnibuses and hardcovers. So, you know, I love that character. And this rumor obviously has been floating around. There's other rumors saying that he's going to be in She-Hulk. So that's going to be interesting. Um, I don't think he's going to be in Moon Knight, but we'll see. I'm very excited if this does pan out, and it is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. Now, as for the next rumor, as I can pull it up, this one was kind of floating around recently. It is a supposedly this account called Account NGT, who has gotten some, some scoops rights about games and stuff. Most specifically, I think EA and PlayStation games. So he is claiming that we are getting a new Sly Cooper and Infamous game, which, as a fan of those series, I was kind of interested by this. I'm not sure if you guys like Infamous or Sly Cooper.
Yeah, we talked about this. I think what was it, about a month or so back, when the
Yeah.
I can't even remember, but I believe it was about a month ago we talked about this.
Mhm.
I've played both series. I absolutely loved Infamous. I thought Infamous was kind of cutting edge for its time when that debuted. Infamous 2, I like a little bit better than the first.
Yes, I
Um,
agree.
Sly Cooper, a great series. I think the farther they got with that, and the better graphics got, and I think that was a series that definitely got better with sequels. So either or would be great. Having them both would be even more fantastic. But being that I don't have a PlayStation, and that would definitely be a series to see, like an Infamous 3 or whatever. Um,
Mm.
that would definitely probably push me in the direction of maybe getting a PlayStation, because I absolutely love that. When I finally got around to it, it took a long time for me to get it because I never had a PlayStation 3. It was always the Xbox 360 guy. So when I finally got my PlayStation 3, that was like one of the first games I had wanted to play for so long. So I would
Mm.
definitely be pro PlayStation. That would be a check mark in the column towards getting a PS5 if that were to happen.
Nice, nice. So, what's your thoughts, Tony, on this rumor?
I think Infamous was a decent game. As for Sly Cooper, I was never really a big fan of the Sly Cooper series. So could be true, could not be. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this account. So
I mean,
Yeah, that
these are definitely two games that are kind of like easy picks, right? I mean, I could see it being a true thing, but it's one of those things where it's like throwing a guess in. It's like that's a good guess to make, right? Those
Mhm.
are popular franchises. So
Now, yes, they are popular franchises, and the reason why I bring this up is even though this has been floating around for the last, Gary mentioned, There was one in like a couple months ago, and then they're always talking about whether these franchises are going to come back. Now, obviously, the one interesting thing about this is the fact that, well, both of these games were developed by Sucker Punch, and obviously Sucker Punch is working on something new right now, whether that's Ghost of Tsushima 2 or some new other projects. So this obviously would be developed by a new studio, which is interesting. And I think there was two Sly Cooper games that were developed by some other studio besides Sucker Punch. Now, one of the reason why I bring up this rumor is because there was supposedly going to be a surprise PlayStation announcement later this year. That was sort of the rumor that was going around, and this account, Scooper, is claiming that it's either going to be Sly Cooper and Infamous. So that was kind of like two rumors in one, that there's going to be a surprise PlayStation game announced, and the speculation is that it's going to be one of these two games. So I just thought we would bring it up. I thought it was fun to talk about because, I do like these series. I do like Infamous 1. I thought it was a really good game. 2 is okay. I'm not too big of a fan of Second Son, personally. It was a first time kind of PlayStation 4 game, so I feel like they kind of needed to work on it a little bit more. It feels almost like a PS3 game, but with better graphics. And obviously there was DLC for that game, which I'm completely forgetting, but it was with the
Last Light
female character. Yes. I just forget the character's name. But yeah, Last Light. So
yeah, when on Thursday when I was throwing back the sake with Shiggy and Shuhei, he didn't mention any of this. So.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure. I feel like Jim Ryan was telling us that something like this is going to happen. Like, he was in the chat the other day.
I might have missed. I don't pay attention to the chat that much, so maybe I missed it.
You don't remember when he said we were blacklisted because we were trashing on the PlayStation, state of play?
I don't remember that happening.
Oh man,
we didn't get claimed on that video for the state of play, so I think we're still in his good graces.
I hope. Jim Ryan, if you are listening, please give me some insider, some insider information. I would really appreciate that. But anyway, that's it for Rumor Roundup. Not a lot of rumors this week, but I thought the Daredevil one, as a fan, I wanted to kind of put that out there for people. And hopefully... I thought
we had one more.
No, I don't think there was one more. I think there was only just two. I have it right here.
I thought the Sony was reportedly looking into bringing a God of War series. I thought that was a rumor.
Oh, that is not a rumor. That's official. That's official.
Official now?
Yes. It was reported by Deadline, so it's official news.
When I read
we'll get into that.
It was reportedly. So
it was on Deadline. So I guess we could segue into that since you brought it up.
You the boss.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Amazon ordered a God of War series. So before we get into it, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notifications. I'm just doing this obviously for the clips, but everybody in the chat, we're going to jump into it. So for the God of War series, I know Tony was saying that this was a rumor, but this is not a rumor because it was reported by Deadline. They're obviously in talks, which means that it's not 100%, but once Deadline, Hollywood Reporter and, the major trades come out and say, hey, they're in talks to do this, I'm going to take it as official news. And what a news was this, because I was not expecting whatsoever a God of War series by Amazon. So what's your kind of initial thoughts on this? for Gary and Tony.
Gary, you want to go
Yeah,
first, or you want me to jump into my thoughts?
I'd be all for it. It's been a while since I've played the series. I was more of a fan back in the day. Obviously, not a don't have the PlayStation. Not have been a big God of War fan lately. I hear a lot of good things about the newer games. But depending on where they go, are there any kind of is there any speculation as to where they would go with it? Are they going to go with like, you know, the like how the late, because the later games are more formed around him being like older, right? This is like, I'm not sure how
This would
it pans
be,
out, but
from my understanding, the fact there hasn't really been any confirmation of what it's going to be. If this is going to be based on the original God of War games, where it's Kratos against the Greek Roman gods. But from what I'm gathering, and based on just the thumbnail of Deadline's article, I think it's going to be the newer series, which focuses on the Nordic um, side of that
right,
series.
which is kind of what I was going to say, because if they do like the whole tried and true thing, I mean, obviously a lot of people are familiar with that mythology. It would be nice to see them maybe spin it in a direction that hasn't been covered in a book or stuff like that before. I mean, they have a lot of stuff to draw from, and
Mhm.
if they go with any early stuff, I mean, obviously, as long as the quality's there, as long as the casting's right, they do it right. I think that's it's a good series to go with. I think God of War is a really good fit.
Yes, and this is coming from, I guess, the Expanse creators, which I haven't really watched that show, but I heard it's really good. It also seems like there's some executive producers from the recent Wheel of Time series. So um, obviously, this does seem like, hey, they're moving forward. Obviously, Amazon has a Fallout series in the works, and they're also supposedly adapting Mass Effect, although there hasn't been an official word out if they're going to pick it up. So um, I thought this was
And,
really interesting as it for a
and I,
series.
and I really think that like it's better to like we talked about BioShock a couple weeks ago about that, the Netflix turning that into a movie. And I think doing these games as a series opposed to a movie is just the better fit,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
you can tell a better story, as long as it's still focused. So
My only issue, and just to play devil's advocate, is I was really expecting this to be a movie. Like, if you're going to do God of War, the thing is, God of War as a game, at least the 2018 one, is very emotional, personal story about Kratos and his son, and their relationship, and obviously dealing with Kratos's past. And that's obviously a big deal. This, even though it is called God of War, there's no God of War 4, or there's no subtitle, so it kind of appears like it's a reboot, but it's not. It's a complete continuation, and so it is a little bit weird that you would make a series about that game instead of the first game, right? I understand that this game is obviously extremely popular. A lot of people say it's one of the best games of all time now, which I can understand. But personally, it's good, but I wouldn't say it's the best game of all time.
Well, not to lose any more cred that I've lost already by admitting things here on the channel, but I've never played a God of War game, so I'm not familiar
Oh wow,
with the
okay,
franchise. But that said, uh, I don't know necessarily you could say that it's going to be based on the newer game as opposed to the original game, just based on the screenshot used by
yeah,
Deadline, because they're going to use the newest game, just because it's probably easier to get a screenshot from that than dig up some old, uh, you know, low def screenshot from fucking God of War 1.
mhm. Oh, the reason why I even though I was just saying that yes, they are using the thumbnail, I also just think based on, you know, that game, it feels like it's more like the other games are good, but I wouldn't say that the story is like the main focus. So it would be kind of like it would be interesting to see them adapt it, but at the same time, those games are more focused on gameplay. Well, I feel like this new game is very much like you can remove the gameplay elements and it could just play out exactly like a story, right?
Right.
So
And that's kind
Yeah,
of what
so
I
that's
and
kind of what I'm leaning toward.
so again, I've not played any of the games. Just going off of what you're saying,
Hmm.
and I would think the best route they would go would be make it based on the newer game, but have flashbacks to major moments from the previous games, since it's a lot more action focused. So he's having like traumatic, PTSD type flashbacks, and you're getting like, hey, he's attacking Ares or whoever the hell he fights in the other series. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just personally think this came out of left field. I heard that there was scripts being passed around for a movie for quite some time. So, and I feel like kind of my main concern with this is that I mean, there's obviously someone attached to the Wheel of Time series with this, and I feel like it could easily become like a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time kind of looking series.
Yeah,
And
I don't think it's really out of left field though, because Sony's making a big push to take their video game franchises and make them into movies and TV shows. You got Uncharted just came out,
I
Last
mean
of
more
Us.
left field as in instead of making it a movie, because I think
Oh,
this would have been better as a movie, just personally
well,
speaking,
they got Last of Us is making a movie on HBO Max
or a TV show. That's a
or a
TV
TV
show.
show.
Yeah,
Well, Ghost of Tsushima, I know that's going to be a movie.
be a movie. Yes.
Uh, there's supposed to be like a metal. What the hell is that one? Twisted
Twisted
Metal.
Metal series.
oh god,
Uncharted
that
just
would
came
be
out.
fantastic.
Hmm. Yeah,
Is
and then
David
there's also
Jaffe going to be
no,
working on the Twisted Metal?
no. He's talked about it before. He said that they consult with him and he gives his blessings, but he's not fully involved with that series.
Because the first
Well,
two were the only really two games that I liked in that series.
Hmm.
Like the story just went off the rails by Twisted Metal 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure what direction they're going to go with that show. I know that there's probably going to make a Horizon. I assume would be a movie. Like if they came out like in a couple weeks and say we're making a Horizon TV show, that would shock me because again, it just doesn't feel like that seems extremely expensive for a TV show. Like The Last of Us and Twisted Metal kind of make sense, right? There you can easily make it budget friendly, but
Yeah.
sorry, hold
I,
on,
I,
give me a
I
second.
I see. I think it's kind of foolish. I think something like Horizon's a little too early. I think something like God of War is a better fit, right? Because you have a better, you have a
Yeah,
bigger
well, they
fan
had already a
base.
movie. Yeah, but I mean, if you're making a movie, we were saying this before, you shouldn't be banking off of the fan base to watch it. You want to appeal to a broader audience, or else the movie's going to get bad reviews.
Well, no, well,
If
I
the movie
understand
is
that.
so, well, that's what I'm saying. So don't even worry about which game has a better audience or a broader, what I'm saying, a bigger uh, game sales, as it were. Just worry about which one would make a better series,
Yeah,
and just work it that way.
yeah,
I th- I think
I
out of
think that
all,
makes sense.
I think out of all of them, got I would say God of War has probably the best chance. Just because sci-fi doesn't do too well, does it?
It does pretty
Not
well, but
really.
I mean, I guess it
Straight
matters.
sci-fi, not really. Like maybe Marvel or if you attach some type of brand, it usually does well. But like Blade Runner did not do well. Dune did okay, but it's not like
Yeah, but
crazy
Blade Runner,
numbers.
uh, they really shouldn't have made a new Blade Runner. Um, Well, as I say, but God of War, if it's not rated R, I don't think it's going to do well. If it's like watered down.
Well, I think maybe that's why they made it into a series, because if you do a big budget rated R movie for God of War, it probably would have not done well at the box office. So I thought that was, oh my God, my dog now just broke character. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of I don't know, personally, I'm interested in this. I liked the God of War 2018 game, but like I said, it's not like the best game of all time. It made sense to do a series, and there's obviously a lot of interesting stuff that you can do, especially because the whole series is taking from Norse mythology lore, right? And
Right,
so there's a lot of
right,
speculation on, because I don't really want to get into spoilers for that game, but there's obviously significant stuff with Kratos' son, and obviously, if you're going based on this, the mythology, his son has to do something that kind of means he would turn on his father. And I'm not going to get into
Well, see, and this
the
is this is
spoilers of it,
why
but
this is why I say if we're gonna go the route that Tony suggested and not appeal to more of a broader audience and not focus on the the fan base of the games, I there's so many ways they could go with the God of War series that they might as well just do it that way and kind of leave the games out of it. Um, at least that's how I see it. And that's why I say I think God of War has the best chance because again, we are talking about mythology and this character has been around for hundreds of years. I mean it's been written about so to death.
Mhm.
So it's something that they really could win on in this series. Either they're going to do two things, right? I think they're really going to either appeal to the fan base of the games, and I think that can be a win if it's done right. But I think their better option is to kind of make it their own and focus on a story that hasn't been told so much.
So he
Or,
could fight like the Egyptian gods or like the Aztec gods.
so I
Yeah,
yeah
I think they're going to do that.
yeah, I think they really have. I think this could be out of all of them. Like you said, we got, Mass Effect. I don't know if those are just rumors, Mass Effect and the Fallout series, but
Well, the
I
Mass Effect is mentioned in the Deadline article, so I guess it is somewhat
and
official.
and the way I see sci-fi, I just really think like a lot of people are into that mythology. So I definitely see the God of War series really hitting a home run here.
Yeah,
And then just uh the way that they could shoot that and make that movie look, that seems like that's kind of been a trend in the last like 10-15 years.
hmm
Movies like that with I mean, I'm drawing a blank on the recent movies that are like that, but like you said, Game of Thrones type stuff. I could definitely see it going that route, and it would definitely be something I'd really want to see.
yeah, yeah. I'm interested, and I hope that it's good, and I hope they also take from Ragnarok, because that is supposedly going to be the end of the story. They're not going to do a trilogy, so we'll see how things turn out, I guess. Now, on to the next story. Um, I think we're going to talk about DC, the DC slate. Um, so, for those that don't know, recently there was a bunch of delays for big DC movies. So that includes Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson, The Flash, Aquaman, and this obviously has a lot of people freaking out over, the shift up. Now, let's get into what exactly is, when these movies are releasing. So for Black Adam, it was scheduled for July 29th of this year, but now it got pushed to October 21st. Aquaman was supposed to release December 16th, so it was going to come up against Avatar 2, and they pushed it back to March 17 of 2023. The Flash was supposed to come out in November of this year, and it got pushed to June of next year. And they also bumped up Shazam 2. It was supposed to come out next year, but now it's coming out in December of this year, which is interesting. And they also pushed back the Legion of Pets, which I don't think too many people will care for, but I think it'll probably still be a successful movie. Now, a lot of people, obviously in the DC community, especially Snyder fans, were very well. Let's say a lot of people were polarized by this news because, on one hand, a lot of people think that the Flash is going to be bad because it's going to erase the Snyderverse, or it's going to, add in all these things that people don't want. Um, Personally, I don't think that is the case. Now, before I get into that, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Gary, Tony, what do you guys have to say about this?
I'm really disappointed that they're pushing back Black Adam. I was looking forward to that. I want to see what The Rock does with it. I want to see what the DC EU does with that whole series, because he is typically a villain,
Yes.
not really a hero. Then he kind of became an anti-hero at one point. I'm not really a big DC guy, but I'm sort of familiar with Black Adam. So that'd be interesting, especially since he sets up like his own country and like basically is a dictator. So it's gonna be weird how they spin that. How he's still the good guy in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very curious, especially because this movie, for those who don't know, is supposed to obviously have Black Adam, but it's also going to have the Justice Society, which is not the Justice League, but they're sort of like the Justice League. Originally, the Justice League was called the Justice Society in the Golden Age, but and that obviously had like Golden Age Flash and Golden Age Green Lantern, which are completely different characters to what we see now. So that's going to be, to me, interesting. Like, I'm really excited to see Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I really love Dr. Fate as a character. Um, so, and he was in Injustice 2, and I thought he was kind of underused in that, but he had a really cool design. There's also Cyclone, and I'm totally blanking on the character's name, but he's kind of like the Atom, but,
Adam Smasher.
Ant-Man, Atom Smasher. There we go. Yes. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting, in my opinion, to see those kind of obscure characters. I know they're not popular, obviously, and people don't know about them, but I do agree with you. I was looking forward to this movie, and now it seems like people are now shitting on it or believe that there's something wrong with it. And I kind of just want to touch on this because here's the thing, right? A lot of people don't understand how Hollywood works. They like to make up assumptions about why movies get delayed. And, obviously right now WB is having, they're going through a merger with Discovery. And so a lot of people like to speculate and think that that merger has something to do with these delays. Now, here's the thing. Aquaman and The Flash were two movies that were coming out month to month. So like back to back. And that's pretty crazy, right? We don't usually see Marvel doing that. There's usually maybe like a month in between releases, right? Like with Captain Marvel and Endgame. But to release a movie back to back is pretty crazy, especially because both of those movies could make a lot of money at the box office. And obviously, I do not buy into this narrative that, oh, this is, because they want to add more elements from the Snyderverse, or because it's these movies are not good and that's why they're delaying them to fix them and make them better and add the Snyderverse. That's the narrative going around. I don't believe it. The most simplest explanation is VFX and reshoots. That's it. As boring as that sounds, that's what it is. Like, I don't know what else to say. I do not believe that they're delaying The Flash because they're going to bring back Ben Affleck and Ben Affleck's going to stay in the DCEU. No, I don't believe that. And there's also rumors about him dying in The Flash. That's a whole different story I'm not going to get into, but yeah, personally, this delay, I'm kind of disappointed by it. Obviously, I wanted these movies to come out as quickly as possible, but hey, they're not. They probably need more. They need more time in the oven. So, at least we're getting Shazam, and I really love Shazam. So, that's kind
I
of
don't
it.
know, Blinded. I have it on good authority that Henry Cavill says he really wants to be in a movie with Black Adam. So I don't know. I think they're going to add him and Ben Affleck's Batman to the movie. Ben Affleck's Batman's going to direct Henry Cavill to Black Adam to try to stop him and set up a new future movie. That's the rumor I'm starting right here on the show.
That we
That's
gotta
what the
push
retweets are
out.
for. I
I might have to
will
make a fake
continue.
account and start pushing this stuff.
Snyderverse will continue as Black Adam faces off with Henry Cavill's Superman. And then he's going to get help from, was it Zachary Levi's Shazam?
Yeah, Zachary Levy. But yeah, any thoughts on this, Gary? I know you're not too big on DC, but I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you're familiar with these movies.
I'm not big aside from watching the Flash series with my old lady and just being kind of a big Batman fan. I'm not too big on these other characters. Now the only thing I wasn't sure of, are they bringing back the actors from the Justice League movies, or?
Well, there is a rumor that Wonder Woman is supposed to be in Shazam, and I feel like she probably might appear in the Flash as well. Same thing with Aquaman, and obviously Aquaman has his own movie. So, and obviously Ben Affleck is going to be in the Flash. That is official. But as for Superman, it's still up in the air. I feel like he would be in it, but we'll have to see.
When is the movie taking place exactly?
For the Flash.
No, for Black Adam, because I mean, I'm trying to figure out how it would fit in the whole DCEU.
Yeah, that's the thing. Their timeline is very messy. From what I understand, it seems like it takes place after Suicide Squad because there is a character from Suicide Squad and Peacemaker that appears in Black Adam.
Because, like I said, because Black Adam in the comic, I know he supposedly was like the original apprentice of the wizard that gives Shazam his powers. Then he like gets sent away after he doesn't want to give up his power or something like that. It's Shazam. So I'm wondering if this is the first introduction of the character, are they going to pretend like he never existed hundreds of years ago? Because that's part of his gimmick, is not turning back, not giving up the power and going back to being a normal person the way Shazam does. He just always stays in his powered up form. And then when he gets tricked in several stories, like he'll get tricked into turning back into a human, and then he dies because he's so old, like he just turns to dust.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think and this is just like speculation on my part based on some of like the clips that we've seen, it seems like maybe Black Adam was like frozen in time or something like that. Maybe that's just deceptive editing, but that's because there is one shot where it seems like there's this team going in and then they kind of discover him and he's kind of like there in like a stasis and then he kind of gets activated. And then there's also clips of him like in ancient Egypt and stuff like that. So I think they could probably just say like, hey, somewhere in Egypt, there's like a pocket dimension or something, and he's been there. Because that was kind of something that they did in Injustice 2, from what I remember. I forget the fictional country where Black Adam lives. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we'll have to see. I am curious. I thought, I wasn't really a big fan of Black Adam. He's always been kind of lame to me personally. But the way that they handled him in Injustice was like really well done. So that's why I've been, kind of be like, oh, let's see. And I'm not too big of a fan of The Rock. I think he just plays himself, and he just didn't really fit the character for me personally. So, but those trailers that they put out for Black Adam, the little snippets, were actually really well done. I'm kind of shocked and surprised, and I'm hoping they can keep that momentum going in. As for the other movies, The Flash and Aquaman, we haven't seen much of those movies, so I'm not going to comment. I know a lot of people like to shit on The Flash, like they call it the Flush, just because they believe it's going to erase the Snyderverse. I don't even believe that's going to happen. I think they're going to do something else that's more in line with the comics, like merge all these universes. But we'll see. Just a little side note: they also delayed other non-DC movies for the people who believe this conspiracy theory that WB and DC are having issues. So you can dispel it. They're changing up their slate because things are in production and things are in flux. And those movies were Wonka and The Meg 2. So all those movies got pushed back to, a whole year. So just wanted to point that out. I know there might not be interest for those movies, but they might probably do well at the box office. So we'll see. Any closing thoughts before we move on?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah. Okay. Now on to the next one. This was actually a rumor, but it's a little bit more interesting of a rumor, and I thought it probably should make its own segment because there is some obviously legitimacy to this. So it seems like there is a filing from Microsoft that hints toward a new console codename Keystone. Now, for those that don't know, Microsoft has done this before. This is how the Series consoles got leaked. There was a filing for a console called Scarlet, which happened to be the Series X and S. And there was also obviously Project Scorpio, which was announced by Phil Spencer himself at E3, I think in 2016. So now, obviously, we have the Series consoles, right? The X and the S. Both, I feel like, are really good consoles. I have the S, and maybe later I'll plan on getting the X. But to have another console, like, what exactly would this be? Like, what do you guys expect that Microsoft would come out with a third console? Like, would you think it's a Xbox X with no disk drive, or an S with a disk drive, or something else entirely? Like, why would they make a third console?
Don't you see what it is, Blinded? We've been covering this particular topic for so long that I'm surprised you're blinded to the fact that the new Xbox console, codename Keystone, is actually they bought Intellivision.
Oh. Oh my God, breaking news. Microsoft, Phil Spencer, he bought Intellivision. Oh my God. This would be absolutely insane.
No, but
I mean,
seriously though, I think it's going to be a hybrid system. I think they're going to try to go after the mobile gaming market. They're going to try to make a version of the Switch. That's my
A
guess.
version of the Switch would be interesting. Because they've been kind of, playing around with the cloud and with is it xCloud, I think it's called? That's the project title. So I have tried it on my phone.
I believe it's
a little
xCloud.
bit. Yeah, and it was interesting. Now, realistically, what do I think this is? I think the most simplest answer is I think this is going to be some type of dongle for kind of almost like a Apple TV or a PlayStation TV. That is kind of my guessing based on the name Keystone. It seems like it's just going to be, hey, I don't want to buy an Xbox console, but I do want to stream Game Pass games. And so you get this dongle and you plug it into your TV or, something like that to that effect. Like, just like how we had if anybody remembers, the PlayStation TV, which was like a Vita that you would plug into your TV. So I know that does not sound as exciting as like a new Xbox console, but I think that's what's going to happen. And I am curious to see if this obviously, you know, get catches on because I mean, most of us know that like, Google Stadia and Amazon Luma, I think it's called. I forget the name of it, but Amazon's competitor to Game Pass or xCloud, they've been struggling, I would say, at trying to get people to buy into this idea of cloud gaming. And we kind of talked about it. I think it was like 2 weeks ago with the Plex shutting down. Now, obviously, that's not really comparable to Google Stadia and Luma because they have AAA games like Control and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Borderlands 3, all these hot games that people want to play, but do you really want to play them in the cloud? Like, I'm curious to see, like,
maybe it's a VR headset because they did shoot down rumors real quick of a new Xbox VR headset.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, those are both good takes. I like Blinded's take on it. I also like both of your takes on it, Tony. That VR headset. I mean, the PSVR 2 is coming out, right?
Yeah.
And you got, I mean, obviously, Meta or Facebook, whatever the hell you want to call them these days, they've made great strides in VR, and they showed that VR is still a viable way to go and make money. So it's hard. I could see them going many ways. You guys bring up a lot of good points. Going the handheld route, maybe making something comparable to the Switch, or maybe sitting in between the Switch and the Steam Deck. I could definitely see something along those lines too. Have we ruled out that it could just be a revision, maybe a slimmer
Xbox X or
yeah
Series X?
Yeah.
That could be possible. I don't remember if the Xbox One S had a code name. Like usually when these filings happen, it's usually for something that is not a revision. But maybe it did have a code and I'm just like completely blanking on it. But someone could correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that is possible. I was always saying personally, like I have a Series S. And obviously I have a friend that owns a Series X and we kind of like trade our experiences. And personally, I feel like the S is already so small enough. Like it sits right on my desk and it really is like almost like just in a wide or at least or not wide, but yeah, I guess it would be wide. It's maybe just like an inch, right? When I put it up vertically.
Whoa. I feel sorry for you, Blinded. It's brave of you to admit that, but
oh boy, dick jokes. Dick jokes. Don't worry about that. Anyway, what was I gonna say? But yeah, like the Series S, I feel like is a really good console compared to like the PS5 and the big boys, right? Like you're getting a lot for your money and it's relatively cheap. And I know that they're having some issues putting out games supposedly. Like they were claiming, oh, Dying Light 2 can't run at 60 FPS at 1080p and then they put out a patch this week for a 60 FPS mode. So I think it's an underrated console, but to get to my point, I think they should have made a Series X without the disk drive. I personally probably would have bought it over the S just because, well, I have a 4K monitor and I do see the benefits to 4K gaming. It's not like a huge jump, but I probably would have preferred going with something a bit more powerful than the S, just in case, right? Because if developers are already dragging their feet on supporting it and giving us performance modes, then I feel like, 3-4 years down the road, there's going to be like major issues with the console itself. And that's kind of my biggest concern.
What do you think? Do you think there'd be a viable way to do Game Pass, and I know you brought up like this dongle and cloud gaming type situation. Do you think there'd be a way for them to make maybe a standalone box that could be very affordable but not be cloud gaming, and then maybe just offer something along the lines of a Game Pass, and maybe it's stripped down a little bit, but it's essentially Game Pass, and maybe they offer that at an affordable price. Maybe that, I don't know if that's something that could be possible, but I always thought about that. Like, what if they offered, so like a standalone box that no, you can't buy games for it, you can't do any of that. You can hook it up to the internet, and you can
Just the Game
basically
Pass box.
and just a Game Pass box. I think because just the way that they've handled Game Pass in the last few years, it seems like that's all I mean, it's not all they've focused on, but that has been their main focus. And it's been a talking point for a lot of people. I think a reason why people love Xbox so much right now is mainly due to Game Pass and what it can offer. So maybe a stripped down version of it. Maybe it doesn't
I think that would
offer
be
this.
interesting.
Maybe it doesn't offer the most current gen games, or maybe they have developers kind of approach that differently, to have settings, but to have it be affordable, right? To have it hit at a certain price point, and make because cloud game. The problem I have with the cloud gaming is that Google kind of like the whole Stadia thing kind of put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and I could see them doing it, because if anybody can do it right, I think it's Microsoft's the one who's Microsoft and Sony are going to be the ones who do it right in the future. But right now, I don't think that would be the smartest choice for them. I think they would be smarter to wait, and let that sour taste kind of be cleansed out of people's mouths with the whole Google thing. But yeah, I mean, I definitely could see it going a bunch of different ways. I think you guys bring up a lot of good points. An Xbox VR headset, they want to compete. I could definitely see them maybe going into the handheld route. But yeah, you guys bring up good points.
There is one thing I did want to touch on with that VR headset. I actually I was in a programming class, and we got the opportunity to go to Microsoft headquarters, and I actually tried out their augmented reality headset. I think you can purchase it, but it's like crazy expensive. I would have to like Google it and see. And you could like play. We were like playing Minecraft on it, and it was like very interesting. And I kind of would like to see them do something like that, an augmented reality game system, I guess.
Did they ever end up releasing that HoloLens stuff?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The HoloLens. That's what I tried.
Okay.
Out.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm not
haven't
sure if it came out.
I haven't really followed that, and I mean they've been working, or I don't know too much about it, but the last time I had checked in on it was such a long time ago, and like you said, like Minecraft was like their big. I remember watching the stage demonstration of it, and it was very unique. So something like that could definitely be like a Nintendo moment, right? I mean, if they had a new kind of
to do it.
Right, because something like that would definitely need its own jumping point, right? Because you're not going to really want to offer that on the same thing that, it's not like console games, the same way as VR is not. I mean, obviously you have PlayStation VR, but the Quest is so popular for a reason that it's just kind of like it's its own thing. It's not trying to be, PlayStation's trying to be PlayStation and VR. I think they're definitely, they're separate markets, and that's another good point. I think it could be something like, have the HoloLens technology, and then have developers, develop strictly for that type of application.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. So it is something that you can buy, but it is crazy expensive. Like here in Canada, I think this is the Canadian. This might be American, but like $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. And from how I tried it and put it on, it is very bulky. It's not like it is Here's the thing, it's slimmer than like a normal VR headset, but it is kind of bulky, like just because there's so much computing, stuff into it that they put into it. And I just thought it was like a really unique experience playing it because it was like, oh wow, this feels like this should be cheaper, but at the same time, like I could see why it was so expensive. Um, and playing Minecraft in it was like a weird experience. Like it didn't even feel like you were playing Minecraft, but it was Minecraft. It was really weird. But yeah, and just to end it off, just one thing that I wanted to pull back or mention was Microsoft did have some type of um it wasn't like a Connect, but it was like supposed to be again like augmented reality, but like in a spatial sense where like it was like projecting something and then you're interacting with that.
Well, I thought that was basically what HoloLens was, or
It's sort of, well, HoloLens, you're wearing this thing, right? But this device that they were creating, and I think it got scrapped, but it's like a projector, right? And you're interacting, so it's augmented, but you're not wearing anything, right? It's all like, you're let's say like a game is on the surface and then you press the button to start right on the table. There's no controller, you just press start, right? Like that's how it was supposed to operate, but I think it was just too expensive. And I think Microsoft kind of realized that the Connect was just too gimmicky and it probably was better for other industries besides gaming. And that's what I'm seeing on the website. It's like HoloLens is for like engineers and doctors and
right.
all these different, exploring education, and you don't actually see anywhere that says gaming or you could play Minecraft on it because I mean it's hella expensive, so I don't expect
Right,
people to play
right.
Minecraft on it.
I don't think that, once the technology catches up, I think that could be viable in the future. But
Yeah.
as it stands right now, it was nice to see that. Like it's been so long that I just haven't followed the project because that demonstration was I believe it was like at least 5 to 6 years ago at this point now,
Yes, yeah.
where they were playing the like you said, the Minecraft demo, and it sounded like a great idea. But obviously, since I haven't really either followed it or heard much about it, I kind of figured it had kind of dropped off or died. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's still around. I'm kind of glad. I would actually like to try it again sometime. And I know Apple is working on one, but it's probably just going to be as expensive as the HoloLens. But we'll see what this Keystone console turns out to be. Um, so yeah, moving on to our next topic. So Deadpool 3, I think it was yesterday or today, got a new director, which was this is the first time in I think maybe like 3, 4 years that we got any sort of mention of a new Deadpool movie. Deadpool's kind of been on the ice, and I am very interested in this project because, as many of you know, the Deadpool movies is going to be made by Marvel Studios. So, is it going to be a rated R movie? I'm not entirely sure because the director, Sean Levy, and I'm just Googling him to look at his credentials again. Um, yeah, so he's the director of like stuff like Night of the Museum. He just came out with Free Guy, which I haven't got to watch yet. I really wanted to watch it. He also made like Real Steel. He has a new project coming out or a new movie on Netflix called The Adam Project. And so obviously the trend here, if you're realizing, is all these movies are PG to PG-13 movies, right? I don't think he's directed any rated R movies, from my understanding. Yeah, he's actually directed some episodes of Stranger Things, which is interesting, but I didn't know that. But all of his projects seem more, kid friendly. They seem more Disney friendly, and so I am curious as to why they picked him. I understand that he's worked, recently a lot with Ryan Reynolds, so it, kind of makes sense that Ryan Reynolds would probably get him the job for this. But I am slightly concerned because this could mean that Deadpool 3 is not going to be rated R in the sense of the other movies, right? And I think that they're going to potentially make this a PG-13 movie. That is my guess, or at least a soft R, not as hard as the other ones. So probably less gore and less, sex and swearing and stuff like that, because all those Deadpool movies had, a lot of that, which is why it was unique, right?
Well,
Yeah.
well, let me offer some insight onto this whole situation, because we always dig a little deeper here. Before Bob Iger had stepped down, said that Deadpool was going to remain an R-rated franchise. Currently, you got the two Deadpool movies that are R-rated on Disney Plus. They're adding parental features to Disney Plus in the coming week, and Bob Chapek, the current CEO, is formulating a strategy for R-rated products to come out of Disney.
Yes, this is true. That
it could very well still be an R-rated movie.
now that
Hard R.
you do bring up a good point, but I am going to bring up something else, which was, even though Bob Iger has mentioned during, I think it was the Fox merger when it was happening, which was 4 years ago at this point now, there was obviously he said, what Tony said, they are going to keep Deadpool rated R, and Ryan Reynolds kind of has insisted it himself. But as of recently, Kevin Feige and even Bob Iger kind of started to, kind of tiptoe around the idea of whether or not it's going to be rated R or not. And this is the thing, right? We did get a Deadpool 2 PG-13 cut. That is a thing that was, came out around Christmas of 2018. So, it could be possible that they make, it was like some novelty. But at the same time, I still have to ask, why did they make that cut, right? Was it just so they could play it in China? Was it just to see how people would react to a PG-13 Deadpool?
Test the water, probably.
Yeah, test the water, so to speak. Now, personally, I think this made people like, here's my take on this, right? I think they got this director to make sure that it is Disney-fied, right? This is not, a Tim Miller who did the first movie, or the guy who did the second movie, which he did John Wick, and now he's going off and directing more like Fast and the Furious type movies. I just blanking on his name, but this guy Sean Levy is more known for comedies and kid for family movies. So I just think it is such a weird idea to get this guy for Deadpool, right? Like, sure, he has a comedy background, but his comedy is for, again, family. So it's like, why would you pick this director?
Maybe they're going to do two cuts.
Yeah, what we were saying before. I mean, it could be possible that they do two cuts. Like, maybe, I mean, it would get them more money, right? But like the Deadpool movies made a lot of money, right? Like, they're the highest grossing rated R movies of all time, but they just never made that mark, right? Like, they always hovered around 800 and like 700 million worldwide, which was kind of weird, right? Like, these are, Deadpool, even in the comics, isn't kind of the same character that we see in the movies, right? Like, he's not, even though he's a fourth wall breaking character, he isn't as raunchy as like the Ryan Reynolds one. Like the Ryan Reynolds one was definitely Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, right? And there is a lot of elements that they took away from the character, like especially recently they kind of were giving him this like sad clown kind of arc, where I think Deadpool had like a kid and stuff like that. And I haven't read too much into it, but I think that was like maybe a few years ago at this point. So I just thought this was an interesting announcement.
Yeah,
But yeah, go.
yeah, was that what I was gonna say was that Deadpool in the comics has evolved. He's so far removed from the original version of Deadpool that
Yeah.
it's almost two different characters.
But even not currently, the Deadpool, I mean, well, I can't say currently because he is Ryan Reynolds in the comics right now. But
Yeah.
like before the Deadpool movie, so maybe I would say like, 2012 to 2015, he was very much not Ryan Reynolds, right? Where Ryan Reynolds definitely is playing up to more of a like he's like I said, he's very raunchy and like, like that the whole kid bottom part in part two where he got his legs chopped off and then he was growing a baby legs and then you see his like his dong like something like that would not be in the comics, right? That's like totally Ryan Reynolds just like experimenting and playing with the character. And I think that's why the character's popular now is like just because he's so out there, he's doing things that even like current comedy movies aren't doing, which I think is interesting. Um, oh, actually, yes, I that is a correction, my mistake. Uh, in the chat, Joker is the highest grossing rated R movie. Yes, it made $1 billion. It completely slipped my mind. I forgot about that movie. So yeah.
Yeah, but the
But the
Joker is
Deadpool
so far
movies,
removed from
yeah,
the DC comics doesn't even really count. You could take out the DC elements of the Joker movie, and the movie still works.
yeah, yeah.
But as far
I
as
would say that
I
just
was
to
gonna say,
just to
okay, go
okay,
ahead.
go. Sorry,
No, no.
no, you could go. You could go.
I was gonna say the screenwriters from the previous Deadpool movies are gonna be on Deadpool 3,
Yes.
and in January, Kevin Feige did say it was still gonna have an R rating.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just sort of I'm wary of this. I think we'll have to see. I could be like I said, I had to correct myself with the Joker thing, so I could be totally wrong about this. I just thought that the director choice was interesting. But as for the I just think that Deadpool could definitely be he. I mean, he two movies back to back did extremely well for rated R movies of that type, right? Even I would say, right, because I completely forgot about it for the Joker isn't as raunchy as the Deadpool movies. Yes, at the ending it gets extremely gory and it's dealing with and like more darker subject matter, but I would say that that movie is still very tame for a rated R movie. Like there's different types of rated R movies. Like you can have a soft rated R movie, right? Like a lot of horror movies are, you know, again, soft movies and stuff like softer, not a lot of raunchy, not a lot of sex, those different things. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, yeah. Uh, what's your thoughts, Gary? Before we move on, because
No, I think
I'm
you
getting a
guys
lot of
nailed
shit for
it.
this.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it.
Yeah. Okay.
the only thing I would add is that Deadpool sucks as a character. He's not funny. Breaking the fourth wall with random jokes is not amusing. It's annoying, and I hate him. But other than that, I mean, I got nothing else to say.
I guess we're gonna.
Where are we going next?
Yeah, the next one. Hold on. I just want to address something. All right. So for the next topic, where are we? I guess we could talk about Elden Ring. Go back to gaming news. So let me just pull up the article here. So for those that don't know, an Elden Ring speedrunner has already beaten the game in under 3 hours without dying, which again is pretty insane. For I mean, this game came out 2 weeks ago now, at the end of February. And I know we were talking about it behind the scenes and stuff like that. So
And just to put it into perspective, the average single player run, as tracked by howlongtobeat.com for Elden Ring, is 43 hours and 50 minutes.
yeah,
And that's just doing the main story. So, which is what the speedrunner did, because he skipped all the extra content and just.
Now, did they say anything about, like, is there a lot of like glitching going on, stuff of that nature? Because I can't imagine like you having to get across the big open world map like normally. I would assume that there's a lot of kind of cheat glitch type things going on here.
It says that he used the horse and just kind of rode past everything.
yeah. I haven't looked too much into this speed running. I just thought it you know, because Tony brought it up, and I thought it was interesting that you know, people already did this, even though the game is relatively new, and you know, it is what it is. But I think there was
It's definitely
um,
a feat in itself.
yeah, but I think there was a more interesting conversation that we were having about whether or not, I know me and Gary were talking about this, on whether or not stuff like this should be, I don't know, celebrated or talked about. So you want to like explain your thoughts on this, Gary?
I mean,
I'd like to be honest.
yeah, obviously the speed running community, they love this kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
It's almost like breaking a game in a sense. I don't know if anybody's ever, watched Ocarina of Time kind of be speed ran, but basically it consists of, doing somersaults backwards the entire game and stuff like that. So, I haven't looked too much into this, and I don't know if was it actually posted? Is there
yes, it was
actually
posted.
there
Yes, it
is a video?
was.
I'm gonna have
Yes,
to go and watch the video, but just to see what kind of you know um little skill set that they're using to kind of like beat it in 3 hours, because that does seem like, if the average time is around 40 hours, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, it says,
yeah,
from my understanding, there's no glitching. It's just go from boss to boss. The main bosses you have to fight. I guess you don't have to fight every boss, so he's just riding past things he doesn't have to actually interact with, not reading anything, just rushing, not getting hit, going to the next boss. He probably spent hundreds of hours, learning all the essential bosses, patterns, and everything, which is just insane. We were talking
But
about
what
this before the show, and I don't think if you sat me down for an entire week and said, play this nonstop, we will feed, bathe, and change your diapers. And you just sit there playing the game. I still wouldn't be able to do this at the end of that. Uh, this is a skill that I do not possess, one that I don't think I want to possess. I don't think I would find enjoyment of doing
well
this.
well that's my point, is that most speed running games are not really fun. If you've ever, you're either into speed running or you're not. It was definitely not for me when I tried to go and actually see, like, oh, my thoughts of it back in the day were, I'm going to play something like Mega Man X and play it straight through. Well, I didn't understand that they were doing things that, you know, were unconventional, like, whether it be, sliding the entire time or whatever, kind of just flying through at the speed of light. And one of the most off-putting things, like I said, was, watching Ocarina of Time kind of be just manhandled, and it was just weird to me. But the 3 hours kind of, I definitely have to sit down and watch this, because what doesn't make sense is that there's supposed to be a good handful of bosses, and around 3 hours, that really puts the time limit, like, I'm trying to understand how this could be possible. I really should have watched this video before we talked about it. It would have gave me a better understanding of what's going on here, because it seems like and I'm not too familiar with exactly how the game runs. I've watched a couple hours of gameplay, and have kind of made up my mind that it's, you know, it's just too much like a Souls game, and it's just not my kind of game. I do think like there is an aspect of you know, difficulty that comes into this game. I think the fact that speed running is probably harder than actually beating a Souls game. To like Tony said, to master doing what this person did is more on the side of I think personally is the speed running side is a lot more difficult than actually beating the game wise. There's like the game in my take, like Souls games can be, you can understand them, you can learn the pattern, which is usually most games with, you know, a severe difficulty. It's just learning the pattern and then having the patience to overcome the obstacle. But it really boils down to I'd have to see exactly what he's doing to get through it in 3 hours. But being that the game is massive, it does like it is impressive. It's definitely impressive.
Yeah. So I'm just like watching some of it. The way he's kind of avoiding all of the enemies is just going on the, you know, the horseback and just like dodging everybody and like going, you know, collecting the experience that he needs to, and then just, you know, getting back on and going to the essential bosses. I'm just like playing it into 2 times speed, just to like see what exactly he's doing. So yeah, like he would like to get like some, you know, essential items, he would kind of just go on his horseback, and like jump around the boss to get, you know, whatever he needs. So I think this is impressive, sort of like what the chat was talking about and what you guys mentioned. It's I think it's always interesting that people have this skill and go the lengths to, you know, actually beat the game. Like I know, like I used to watch like Breath of the Wild speed runs, and I always thought it was interesting how you know, like people would beat the game in under 3 hours with just a branch, you know, like stuff like that. I think is like interesting, and like the time that it takes, right? Because even though they're speed running it fairly quickly, you still have to have some strategy. So, yeah.
Well, the only thing in this game that kind of boggles my mind is are there no really like checkpoints that you need to go through to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like Zelda, for instance, like, and let's bring up like Ocarina of Time. There are just key moments in the game that you just cannot skip, right? That there's certain key items that you might need to do. I think Majora's Mask was a little different. I think people were able to quote unquote cheese the game a bit to to get past certain elements. And I mean that's like that in a lot of like speedrunning games, but I would assume in something like Elden Ring, with it being that massive and being 40 hours long, that's really what boggles my mind here, is that there's like I'm not understanding how somebody could possibly do that. Like, if there were certain things that you need to acquire, or is it just all basically like experience based, where basically the farther you get is determined by how much either, you know, skill and experience that you get throughout the fights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm definitely saying that it's definitely, you know, people with speedrunning skills are on a different level. They make games look kind of unfun when you watch it from that standpoint. But I do give a lot of credit to somebody who can beat it, you know, speedrunning, going through it and doing all those little idiosyncrasies, because it's quite difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on this. I'm not too big on speed running. And personally, I'm not surprised that people have done this. This game is extremely popular, and it was eventually going to happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. So any closing thoughts other than, you know, what I just said?
Speedrunners are crazy. I do not envy them. I would not speedrun. It kind of ruins the whole experience. You're meant to enjoy a game. I liken speedrunning to people who slam beers, right? You're not enjoying it, you're just chugging it and you're not
Yeah,
tasting it.
Yeah. Could
Could you imagine
falling a
if you
beer.
you had a nice fine wine, you know, it's real old, and you just chugged it. You didn't drink it, you didn't taste it, you just slammed it. It's not good. Not good.
Well, I'm sure, I am sure that they do enjoy the game, and then it's like, it's time to break the game. And that's personally where I think I'm at with like speed running. It's just kind of more, just not what oh, excuse me. It's just not my taste for going through a game. Like you said, Tony, I would want to enjoy it. The game was meant to be played and experienced and all that stuff. And I think they do that. They just want to be the record holder. I think that's kind of what it is.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one, I thought this one was a funny story, not so much of a information kind of story, but the fact that people do stuff like this, I thought was extremely bizarre. So Vice posted a article titled "Doctor apologizes for ranting about console war from the operating room." So yes, a man in India who's a anesthesiologist. I can never pronounce that right, but he's a doctor, and he was operating on someone, and he decided to jump on Twitter and YouTube and live stream this operation while trashing Xbox. So the whole reason why he jumped on Twitter was I think there was like news about First Spoken getting delayed, and he kind of wanted to jump in on the conversation and say his opinion while also proving that he was indeed a doctor. Um, Now, the video itself that he posted on Twitter is now gone. You cannot see him operating while talking shit about Xbox, unfortunately. He actually had to come out with an apology video and basically say that he was sorry for his childish remarks and his antics. Now, personally, I'm not too big on the console war stuff anymore. Like I said, I have a Series S, Xbox, a PS5, a Switch. So I'm not too concerned about picking sides. I will criticize whoever. If I don't like what Microsoft's doing, I'm gonna say, hey, Phil Spencer, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? So this story was insane to me because this guy basically costed his job over some petty, stupid, fanboy wars, right? Like this guy was literally, oh, you could see there was like clips of it, open chest, and the
That's
guy just
insane.
like, yeah, talking about how he's the Xbox fanboys are upset and stuff, and obviously because people saw this, the internet decided to go review bomb him on Google. So they did that, and I saw some joke posts about this. The way that I found out about this was actually funny because someone posted kind of like a joke video of like this guy operating on a doll, and he was like talking about I'm too busy to help my patient. I gotta like uh go trash Game Pass and stuff. And I just thought it was like a little joke, like, okay, yeah, we all see these people on Twitter doing stuff like this, but no, this was entirely real. This was a real occurrence that happened. So I thought we would point it out on the show. I know there's not maybe much to say about it, but yeah, people really need to stop with this console war stuff. It's going to cost you your job. So quit it, stop it. It's embarrassing, but it's also hilarious. So maybe you should continue.
I'm just
Any other
saying, there's
thoughts?
no Xbox fans that are doctors out there posting these videos. That guy's a winner in my book. He's a Sony pony for life.
Yeah, I mean, he risked his job to help
Well, at
Jim Ryan. So
least Sony fans have jobs to risk. We know that Xbox fans live in their basement of the parents'
Ooh.
house with no life, no
Ooh,
girlfriend, no
yeah,
car.
oof.
Ooh.
But we all know
Damn.
Nintendo's the king, right? Why are we talking about? Why are we
Well,
talking about?
Nintendo fans are usually under 16. They're not even allowed on the internet.
Oh, damn. This is some salt in the wounds.
There's some
I get
console
it.
wars going on right
I
here.
I do sometimes I think I'm more of a pony because I do got to jump in from time to time when people are shitting on PlayStation. But I do see our fellow friend. He knows he's in the chat right now. Who's a Xbot, so he might get offended. I'm not gonna say who, but he knows he's watching. So
I mean, in all seriousness, though, this was like I don't remember really like. I mean, obviously, it still goes on today, and it'll continue. Obviously, PC guys, you know, they spend a lot of money on their rigs, and they definitely get the most performance, and the visuals are top notch most of the time, as long as the games are good. But this kind of thing is like it just reminds me of back when I was in high school. That's when console wars were at like an all-time high. Around the time that 360 came out, I never really viewed the console wars as a thing. I think it finally, third-party developers kind of started, getting those games across multi-platform, and it just worked out, and nobody was really talking about that. We all kind of had the same experiences. You know, a few differences here and there in most of those games, but for the most part, that kind of died down there for a while. And I kind of still feel that way, even though I'm not in the in the PlayStation community or in the Xbox community. I do play a lot of Switch stuff, but at the end of the day, if I had the money to go and have both those consoles, I would gladly buy those and have the exclusive content that those have. Everything has its strengths and weaknesses. I love Halo on Xbox. I love certain series on PlayStation that you just can't get. But I think it's foolish. I agree. I think it's foolish. I think every platform has something great to offer, and why can't we all just get along?
yeah, I still think it's fun entertainment though to jump on Twitter and see some of these people just going at it. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like some people just say the most outlandish shit just for clicks and for likes and to stir up drama, and it's always hilarious. Like this, in my opinion, like I used to be like when I was a kid, when the console war, when there was like PS3 and 360, there was a lot of weirdos out there. Like the Trey Brotherhood and all of that stuff. If people remember that that time was hilarious, and I'll always remember it because I mean it's kind of embedded in this console war, and it's the reason why it's the way it is now, where people are just like want to dog on each other and stuff. So, I mean, go ahead, continue doing this, in my opinion, because for me, I laugh on the sidelines. I think it's hilarious. So, I'm sure now people are going to come after me. So, but anyway, shout out to Xbox, ponies, and Nintendrons. But anyway, that was a little short story. So, I guess we'll
Well, I
move
just
on.
want to say real quick before we move on. Obviously, I was joking earlier. I don't
You
care.
were?
Yeah, it was.
You were
I-
joking. Oh shit.
Yeah, I really don't care about Sony as a company personally. I don't feel the need to jump out there and protect them or to defend their honor. Like what you like, play what you want to play, and just have fun, right?
Yeah, at the end of the
We
day,
can't leave on that.
I mean, at the end of the day, you did say, Tony, that you did enjoy the Kirby demo, didn't you?
I did. And if you're a doctor, for God's sake, operate on your patient first. Don't like in the middle of a surgery do other things. I don't want my
Do we
doctor to
do we
that.
do we know if that guy was okay?
Oh, who knows? He probably was, but
And did
we won't know.
did we find out is he a Sony or a Microsoft fan?
It would be
Oh,
funny.
the patient? That would be
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Doctor refuses to operate on patient. He's an expert.
Now, what happens if this was, he was like trashing, anti-Amico fans? I think that would have been funny. I just got to put
Ooh.
that out there. Shots fired, but
Shots fired. All right. I think we can move on now.
okay, next one. So back to movie topics. We kind of talked about this. I'm not sure if Gary saw this trailer, the Obi-Wan trailer. I kind of just want to expand out my thoughts on this. Since we had a brief little comment about it on a live stream on Thursday, and I'm not sure if anybody saw it, and I kind of want to clip it and go into it again. But the Obi-Wan trailer came out, and it is a mixed bag, but I'm starting to warm up to the idea of a Obi-Wan series, because it seems like this might actually be a series and not a kind of like a mini series. So this might actually get a season 2, is what I'm trying to say. And I just thought that was interesting because, well, how exactly would you make a season 2 out of a series that is so confined to two, it's in between two movies that are significant, and it's like, is season 2 going to show us a older Luke? Are we going to get, a more older Obi-Wan? Would Darth Vader be in it again? I'm not entirely sure, but that was kind of the update to the Obi-Wan trailer, because
I
that
got
came out after.
So I got some insight into that. From my understanding, and I got a phone call from some people connected to the Obi-Wan series. Season 2 is actually going to be Obi-Wan follows Luke around to high school. It's going to be a high school drama on Disney Plus, where we see Luke interacting with other students of various alien races, and Obi-Wan is going to play creepy Uncle Ben, who looks out for him using the Force in funny situations, like
oh my
someone
God.
tries to trip Luke, and he uses the Force to get him back upright. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be like Wizards of Waverly Place meets Star Wars.
That sounds like epic cringe. I would not. That would be hilarious if it did happen, but oh my God, that sounds terrible. I'm sorry.
They did at one point want to make like a DC high school show where all the DC characters were like high school students.
I think they did that.
I think it was canceled. I don't think it ever came out.
They always try to do something like this, that idea. Like let's put like Marvel characters as like teenagers, or Star Wars characters, or something like that. It's beyond cringe.
It's gonna be super cringe. And Obi-Wan's gonna come in and he's like, "How do you do, fellow Jedi?"
Yeah.
Laugh track inserted here.
Oh Jesus.
I mean, there is a lot of time. There is a lot of time between the period that we're going in, so there is a lot of. I mean, what really can they focus on? I guess. I don't.
Yeah.
Is it canon in the movies that he was there the entire time?
No, they don't
entire
really
time as for what?
There.
Right in between those years, over right
on Tatooine. Yeah. Okay.
So I really think they can improvise on this. I really think it's one of those things, right? Because it's like, where can they go with this? And it is going to have to it's going to have to leave Tatooine, right? There's going to have to be a lot of like interesting stuff. Otherwise it's going to fall flat.
Yeah.
Because it's too interesting. If there's too much interesting stuff, people are going to be like, where did this character go? Why is this character not in the following movies? So, I mean, if you have anything really interesting or world-shattering or universal,
right, it won't fit in.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, I mean, they can get away with a season, right? But if they're going to do a second season, it's going to be it's going to be hard to shoehorn that second season in, and that's
Yes, I agree.
that's really the challenge, is how to juggle this without, like you said, making something too interesting. Like, well, wait, how do we not know about this if it was that interesting to begin with? And that's really where their challenge is going to kind of lay. So
I think the only way they could really get away with it is if Obi-Wan has to go like to the far corner of the universe where he can have adventures that don't have an effect on the rest of the Star Wars proper.
I personally just think that it is. I know that we were talking about it on stream on Thursday, that the idea of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, because Darth Vader is going to be in the show. We just don't know if he's going to fight Obi-Wan. But I mean, I feel like they would do something like that in the show, right? And I know Tony was saying that, doesn't that create some type of, plot hole? Like, why doesn't, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader acknowledge their, meeting up with each other in this time period when they go to fight in A New Hope? So I think that's kind of my only concern with the show, is like how, like, because it's in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, like you're going to have to tiptoe around the fact that these characters haven't interacted with each other, and it kind of also makes the series less interesting because of that. Because it's like, what exactly are you going to have Obi-Wan do in this show, right? Like, obviously he's being hunted by the Grand the Grand Inquisitor, and obviously that's a character that a lot of Star Wars fans like. And I know in the trailer he looked very off. Like, I just didn't like his makeup, and it just seemed a little weird, especially because we've seen his race before, especially in the prequels, and it's more elongated and it looks more not how it does in the trailer, where his head is a little bit more wide. So I just think it was a little bit weird that they took that choice. I'm not sure if it's a creative choice or if it was some sort of limitation with the makeup. But whatever it is, I don't know. I'm just not like all that intrigued by this. Maybe I think, and this would be interesting to see if Darth. Why am I blanking on the character's name? Jesus, the character Darth Maul. There we go. If he shows up, I don't think he's going to show up, but he does. I think he's still alive in this time period. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not watched Clone Wars and the ending of Clone Wars, which I think he's in. So I think that probably would have been a better conflict, because again, Darth Maul is around. So I don't know. I am slightly looking forward now to this trailer. I was kind of like mixed when I first saw it, but and obviously I'm kind of trashing on it right now, but I still think that there is some potential with this, especially seeing how Luke is going to grow up and maybe potentially have some hints, or just to see that time period and to see how Obi-Wan eventually became that hermit, right? I think it would be a really interesting arc to see him go from the way that he is in the prequels to basically being so reserved, like giving him a more of a reason, if that makes sense, than just obviously he's hiding from Darth Vader. But yeah, looks like
But he's
Gary
not just
left.
hiding from Darth Vader. He's watching over Luke to make sure that
True, but
he doesn't die. So I want to
it-
see, like I said, I want to see like
it
Luke
just never came
wandering
across.
around.
He is watching after Luke,
You ever
but
watch
he's
those
not
old
like watching
Popeye
him
No,
consistently.
no. I want like the old Popeye cartoons where Popeye's going after Sweet Pea and like he's wandering into like construction sites and then Popeye's trying to like rescue him. I want to see that, but with Obi-Wan, like Luke goes across the street and that speeder almost hits him, so Obi-Wan just like flings it out of the way with the Force. Like, fuck you guys for trying to hit Luke with the car. That's what I want to see. Shit like that.
Old man Obi-Wan protecting Luke.
Yeah, just like
I
Luke
mean, as
is
a
like
comedy bit, I think it would work.
like Luke is completely like what's the word, like just dumb. He just like wanders around, completely rebellious. So he's like getting into trouble, and Obi-Wan's
Yeah.
constantly having to go behind him and like fix it.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Obi-Wan's doing his chores. Like, did you change the filters? And then he's like, yeah. And then you see like Obi-Wan's in the background, like trying to change the filters of all the machines and stuff. That's what I want to see. Like
Sure.
Obi-Wan could be his like his genie almost. Like a Fairly Odd Parents meets Star Wars.
Hmm.
What do you think, Gary? Think that'll work?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It sounds more like a comedy than something like we're supposed to take serious.
Yeah, with a comic relief droid that has a catchphrase like "Oh no," like you see Luke get in trouble, and you hear the droid like "Oh no," that Luke.
Wah wah.
Also, that timing in the chat.
But I don't know. It looks. I really want to like this. Like, I really want to like it. I think Ewan McGregor was like one of the shining, lights of the prequels. I loved him as Obi-Wan. Depending on how they go about all this. Now, one thing I was curious, the actor they have playing the like Uncle Owen and what's her name? Those are like the original ones that were at the end of the
prequels. Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like happy that they're bringing back these actual actors. I mean, obviously, Uncle, they didn't really say or do much in the grand scheme of things, but to have those kind of the likenesses back and to be like it's connected.
Have you guys ever seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yes, it's fantastic.
Bits of it. Yeah.
Okay, remember in Hot Tub Time Machine where the guy had one arm, and they're constantly like waiting for him to get his arm chopped off?
Yes.
They need to do that with Uncle Owen and
Crispin Glover.
Where like they're almost getting burned alive in every episode. You're like, oh, they're gonna get burned alive, like they do at the end of Star Wars. Like, oh, that's a good thing. We almost fell into that fire. Wouldn't it suck to get burned alive?
Oh my God.
But
I think a lot of people would rage at that, but
I mean, I don't know. I just it really just kind of like, where are they going to go with this? Obviously, people want to see something like this, but it's like, where at the end of the day can they go with this? And it really is gonna it's really gonna fall. I think obviously you have Ewan back, and he's gonna do a great job no matter what. But at the same time, the writing has to be there
in the series.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jar Jar came back. I think they might bring him back one day. But also, too, I wanted to mention, I think they're also going to add scenes, like we actually might see like live action Clone Wars time error scenes, I guess, which is something that we haven't seen before, because we only seen Clone Wars in animation, and obviously they had the movies and stuff. So I actually kind of want to see them in like the outfits and everything like that. I'm not too big on Clone Wars. Like, I only really follow the Star Wars movies. Sometimes I would like check out the novels, and the comics, but I don't know. Like I said before multiple times, I feel like Star Wars feels like a neighborhood. Like, there's not much you can do in this universe. It's cool. I like it sometimes, but at the same time, it's very draining to me. That we're again talking about Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? Having an Obi-Wan series, as if Obi-Wan hasn't. We had the Clone Wars, as I mentioned before, and then we had the prequels. So it is what it is. And even though I'm skeptical, I still want to see what happens. So, yeah. Any closing thoughts on this? We're kind of all over the place on this, but
I mean, because it's really hard to nail down, but I have high hopes for it, just because I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
But well, I guess we'll see. We're gonna find out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I might have to check out Clone Wars eventually. I don't know. I'm just so burnt out on Star Wars. Um, I don't know. I'm burnt out on a lot of stuff. For some reason, I'm more like excited for DC's things than Marvel right now. Like if we're talking about franchises, so it is what it is. But the last story, which I'm slightly confused by, but I think we could kind of talk about it, is Gamescom 2022. It got announced. It's happening, unlike E3. So I guess
Well, they
that's
had
exciting.
did
I
well they
guess.
did they have Gamescom last year?
Yeah, it was
Did
virtual.
they? Okay. This
Was
is
it?
this
Yeah,
is physical. This is in person.
right. And I don't think you're gonna see like E3 is a whole different ball game. I don't think you'll see, Gamescom going forward. I think that show will always kind of be there. It's a different kind of beast than E3 is, and it's good to see because Gamescom is fantastic. There's a lot of good stuff that usually gets announced.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
world's
I'm
largest
starting to
event for
remember.
computer and video
I'm
games.
starting to remember last year, yeah, because they announced that Marvel games, Midnight Suns, which I am looking forward to. I wish it had a release date. It got delayed. It was supposed to come out by now, but yeah, I don't know. Last year was kind of like I said, I didn't remember it, so I guess that kind of speaks to what was revealed. But um, I think this is kind of interesting that this was announced that this is going to happen because E3 has been rumored to be like dead. Like they're not going to do in person. I don't even think they're going to do an online. I heard some like rumors. I think like was it Jeff Grubbs? He's usually an insider that gets stuff right, and he was talking about it. And I don't know. I feel like these online shows are kind of maybe not Gamescom, but like E3 is definitely done. I don't think it's gonna ever be what it was like, even just like three 3 years ago, right? Um, and I think it's not just because of the pandemic. Like I know people will say that, but Nintendo, what I think starting like 2014, they started not attending E3, which was quite interesting, right? They did their own Nintendo Direct around the same
Right,
time.
right. In the
So
treehouse, I mean, they've been moving forward. They've been moving towards this like for the longest time.
yeah,
They've kind of wanted to get away from it. And it makes sense, right? There's no reason to kind of spend the money and do these things when you can just um, do it yourself.
yes.
So I understand it. Gamescom is just a different beast, though. I think it's kind of one of those things where um, there's a place for it. So
Yeah, I
I'm
think
excited to see what comes of it.
these digital shows, and in my opinion, are kind of just like I think it was like back in it was 2020. They had um, what's his name? Jeff Keighley was trying to like make his own E3 with like Summer Game Show or whatever it was, and people just dunked on it and made fun of it because it was so lackluster and the announcement were all over the place and they weren't consistent. And I know RG 85 was talking about this. Um, I think it was today where he was trying to say like E3 used to have like a structure and it used to be always interesting when like, oh, Nintendo's going to go on Tuesday and Sony and Microsoft for Sunday and Saturday, right? And it's like, it's kind of fun when they schedule it and it's always like, hey, what are they going to announce? But now it's sort of like anything goes, you know what I mean? Like people didn't know when a state of play was going to get announced. And then when it did, it just ended up being mediocre. And I think some of these companies need to realize that the structure and the hype does help them, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
and I know people will, including myself, right? Like, will still get hyped when they announce a state of play just because, hey, maybe this time they'll announce something, but you don't need it. It doesn't need to be like that where it's like a guessing game. Like, just be like, hey, we're coming out with the PlayStation experience in June. You know what I mean? And have it every time in June, right? then that way it's like, okay, we know that they're going to announce either something big or we can guess at what it is, right? Instead of it like they have to now come out every other time and say, no, guys, keep your expectations low and don't get too hyped and stuff like that. Like, I think it kind of just ruins the conversation. And I don't know, maybe it's just like me being a, quote unquote consumer. I just want things that are more like, I don't want to say hype, but like things that are like, hey, something actually might be exciting that comes out of this that we could sit down and watch. Cause like I would watch these with my friends, right? Like I'm not watching this by myself. Um, but it's, I haven't really done that recently. I think that the last one I did was, um, well, I did it with the Nintendo Direct. Me and my buddy sat down and watched it when it was live streaming. And I guess like,
not to cut
no, go ahead. I'm
you
talking
off,
too much.
Blinded. But if you want an event that's going to have something to talk about, an event that's going to have people really interested in this, will go to Gary's interest mostly because the Indie Live Expo is coming May 21st and 22nd. They're going to have over 500 games announced, introduced to the masses at Indie Game Expo.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm always excited for them indies.
So, I mean, as far as Gamescom, though, it is the biggest video game expo, but I don't think it's the most relevant. I mean, I don't think a lot of people have ever heard of it over E3, which is weird considering it is bigger than E3.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect that much to actually come of it, sadly.
But usually all the big companies show up though. Like I think maybe Nintendo doesn't, but like Sony and Microsoft, I know they show some big announcements or just like gameplay. Right. So
the reason I brought it up was because it goes to one of the topics that we talk about a lot, the Amico, because they did do some things at Gamescom 2021. And I was curious to see if they were going to be on the docket for 2022, considering they have the deep ties to the European market.
Yeah, I think that's a no-go this year.
You think so? You're not holding out hope?
I have not a shred of hope.
Oof.
And I really wouldn't call it hope.
Yeah, so I'm not really looking forward to Gamescom. I will try to get us some passes and stuff, set us up when that becomes open. Maybe if people are interested in Gamescom, we'll set up a simulcast and we'll watch it live or something. But I don't think us Americans, Canadians, and the few Brazilians that watch the channel are not really interested in Gamescom. Though we do have a slightly large German audience for some reason. It's kind of weird.
That is true. That is weird, but it is what it is.
I think that's Hans. Hans and his family watch our show. I think his son dunks on him. It's like, Dad, they're making fun of your company again.
Oof.
That's all I got for Gamescom.
Okay. Any other clothing thoughts? Since it looks like that was the end of our topics for tonight. Kind of a slow news week, but I thought there was some interesting stuff. At least movie related.
Nah, I don't got nothing. You got anything, Gary? I think I would say that Blinded did an excellent job running the show today.
I don't think so.
No, you did.
Came through in the clutch.
Oh, you did a good job. I think we covered everything pretty well tonight.
I think the chat's
You
going
ran
to
a tight
disagree,
ship.
but don't worry, guys. Next week, back to your normal schedule. You won't have to hear my monotone voice rambling for 2 hours. So don't worry. Tony's going to host next week. I'm going to guarantee it.
Maybe we'll let Gary host. We'll do like a rotating main.
Yes.
I think my computer's gonna break next week.
Everybody that's watching says you did a good job, Blinded. I think you did a good job.
Okay.
You kept us on
I
focus.
will say it again, just so it's like in on the stream. I do apologize for that error. I'm supposed to be the movie guy, and I completely brushed over the Joker making $1 billion. So I do apologize. That was a total mistake. Um,
Well, if you combine Deadpool and Deadpool 2, they've made more money than the Joker. So
yeah, sure. But I wasn't even talking as in like franchise related. I was just saying top movies in
I
general,
was trying
which
to give you an
is
out. I was like, here's an out. Just take some
I will
little.
own, listen. I like to own up to my mistake, and like I said, I'm supposed to be the movie guy. I have the movie right, so it's like I won't be rambling next time. I'm gonna have like actual all my information in front of me. So, which I did do. I did do. I have the game comms press right up, but talking about Deadpool and our rated R movies, I should have had that up. Um, but anyway, you live and you learn. So that's my philosophy.
All right, I think that's it. You want to
So
do the outro? You're in charge.
yes. So for everybody that's in the chat, we're gonna do the after show. So stay tuned where it's you know a little bit more lively and you don't have to hear me. So I'll drop it. I don't actually think I could drop it in the chat, but anyway, just stay tuned. You'll see it in your subscription. And for everybody that's on the podcast, thanks for watching and see you next week. Bye, everybody. Oh my God.